This is the man's game. This is not for boys who want to have 6 cards in their hand and make a flush on the end. Texas Hold'em, where you have 2 cards. This is what men are built off. Let's play Texas Hold'em.
As poker has traveled the world during the last century, it has developed into a varied and dynamic game. Numerous types of game now circulate kitchen tables and casinos across the globe, each offering its own unique slant on the basic structure of poker.
The 3 main families of poker are draw poker, flop poker and stud poker. Hold'em and Omaha are both flop games, games where you get communal cards in the middle which you share. Stud games are different. In stud games, all the cards you get are your own, but some of them are face up.
For every player, there's a game to suit. Whether professional or novice, everyone has their favorite version of poker and their reasons for playing it. However, there can be little argument about which type of poker currently wears the crown.
I play all sorts of poker, but mainly Texas Hold'em, which is the fastest and I think the purest version. I can play other sorts of poker, and in my home game on a Tuesday night, which I play with friends, we play all sorts of crazy stuff with wild cards and things just for fun. But when I'm being serious about it and I'm trying to win a tournament or make money in a cash game, it's always Texas Hold'em because I understand it the best.
These days I'm playing almost exclusively Hold'em for the same reason that Willie Sutton used to rob banks, because that's where the money is. I would like to play multiple games. I would like to play more varied games because I feel that you can apply poker theory across the board to a lot of games and situations. But right now, the predominant game in the area where I live is Hold'em, and because of the exposure of Hold'em on television, it's becoming the predominant game almost everywhere. And so the money's in Hold'em, so I specialize in Hold'em. And since I've been playing almost exclusively Hold'em for a number of years now, it probably is my best game, although it didn't used to be.
But there's a lot of people out there who the only game they can really play is No Limit Holdem. And the reason being is to come straight off the streets into these tournaments, you know, and they have a bit of success at No Limit Holdem, and really it's the only game they're comfortable with, you know. When they're playing Pot Limit Holdem or Omaha or Stud, they're not really comfortable. So that's probably why the signing of No Limit Holdem is. I mean, if I had to if I had to go and get a drunk off the street and give him some money and he had to win or I was going to get executed, I would try and teach him No Limit Holdem in a day rather than any other game, because you know it's a game you can learn on pretty quick.
It's probably the easiest game to understand, and it does lend itself to tournament structure in that in Hold'em it's a game of made hands, and you have a hand that's made or you can make, and the pots are fairly controllable.
It's like dominoes, right? Nobody's going to be a consistent winner at dominoes, it's just what you pick up. But the thing is with Texas Hold'em, it's how you play and it's what you do in a game. This is your game, your power of your chips. Texas Hold'em, no limit, not pot limit, no limit is the man's game.
For many professional tournament players, No Limit Texas Hold'em is the game of choice. Arguably the most exciting version of poker, it encompasses a seemingly endless spectrum of possible playing and betting styles.
No Limit and Limit are very, very different. Limit is more of a technical game. If you come in with the wrong hands too often, if you play too loosely, over time you're going to lose money.
With pot limit, you can never get people off the pot. You see, say for argument's sake, there's 300 chips in the pot, right? Now I can only bet 300, right? And if this guy over here is drawn into a flush, he can call the 300, right? But if there's 300 in the pot, and I bet 3,000, which is no limit, he can't put 3,000 in. He can't put all his chips to hit a heart when he's got chances of missing it. So the difference between pot limit and no limit is, this is the pressure. This is what you want. You want the pressure to say, if you want to hit your heart, stick all your money in. But in pot limit, you can only put 300 in, therefore, he can afford to call, and then he can hit his card, and if he hits his heart, you've had it. But make him pay. You make him pay to hit the card, and that's what no limit is. You could teach a computer to play limit poker, I think. You could never teach a computer to play No Limit Holdem, because No Limit Holdem, and that's the game that's only played No Limit really, is Holdem. That is the beautiful game. That is the game that allows the most expression, the most difference, where the game that you can play without ever getting cards, where you're playing the other player more than you're playing your own cards, and where at any time one single slip, one single mistake can wipe out all the good work that you've done. So the tension is extraordinary. What's at stake in every hand is extraordinary, and you have so much freedom to make things happen with the cards that you're dealt.
The most skillful form is the no limit form, and for that reason I believe it's a great tournament game. I really enjoy playing that game in tournaments. But sadly, because it is so skillful, it turns out not to be a great cash game form of the game. And the reason for that is because it is too skillful. So weaker players or new players find it nearly impossible to win, even for a night or for a week, when they're playing against much more skillful players in a no-limit form of the game. So limit poker kind of adds a little more of a luck factor, which creates a lot more action.
It's also the game which most people are learning now, which means that if you're a professional player, you maybe look to some of the other games like Omaha or 7-card stud, where the skill gap is greater.
Texas Hold'em may be the most popular variation of poker played today, but it is by no means the toughest. If you're looking for a game that tests players to the very limit of their skill and concentration, then look no further than Omaha.
4-card Omaha is the most skillful, because there's so much to learn. I mean, I played it for a year, I thought I knew everything, and the next year I realised that I didn't know anything the year before, and it carries on like that, you know, it's a learning process. There's so many combinations and so many different situations coming up.
Omaha is high risk because the nature of the game is a drawing game, and so you get a lot of money in the pot very quickly. And so given that you only have a limited stack of chips to play with, by its very nature, it's high risk, because any one pot can get everybody's chips in.
But it seems that players today want a game that's easy to grasp and offers room for both skillful and creative styles of play. This may explain the international success currently enjoyed by Texas Hold'em.
In a game of Omaha, when you've got 4 opponents and there's a flush and a pair on the table, there's really very little bluffing you can do. Somebody's going to have the best hand, and that'll be the person that bets. Texas Hold'em seems to me more creative, more imaginative. There's more room for manoeuvre.
Texas Hold'em, Omaha, and 7-card stud generate little money for casinos when compared to house games like roulette and blackjack. To seize on the popularity of poker and subsidize the less profitable games, casinos have introduced house versions of poker specifically designed to turn the odds back in their favor and produce a profit, such as Caribbean Stud and Pai Gow.
These aren't really poker. What they are is they're casino games with a built-in casino edge, where you're playing against the house. You're not going to beat them. If you were able to beat them, the casino would stop you playing. When you're playing poker, you're playing against other players. You're not playing against the casino itself. There is no house edge. You might pay an hourly fee, or there might be a small rate that comes out of the pot to pay the expenses and to give the casino a small profit. But basically, you're playing against the other players at the table. I mean, some people like to play casino games, but playing Pai Gow or Caribbean Stud is just the same as playing dice, and I wouldn't really recommend it.
Holdem.